Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here, and we are exploring the wide world of cult classics around us. And right now we are at Green Hills in Rancho Palos Verdes Estates in California. It's around the holidays, and today we're actually visiting the grave of one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Rodney A'noai, who was Yokozuna when I was a kid in the World Wrestling Federation.
At 568 pounds, my next guest is easily the biggest fighter in championship wrestling. He's an ex-grand champion of sumo and the current World Wrestling Federation champion. Let's take a look at him in action. All right, please welcome Yokozuna and his manager, Mr. Fuji. See you. How are you? Nice. Nice. Please sit.
And I always kind of felt really connected to Yokozuna because he was like a big guy. I always liked sumo when I was a kid. He was an evil sumo wrestler. Mr. Fuji was his manager. He was always a cool character, even though he was a bad guy. He's the guy who beat up Hulk Hogan, And at a certain point, you get to a point in your wrestling fandom when you don't like Hulk Hogan. He beat up Hulk Hogan,
Now, Yokozuna, as you know, is the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Who did he beat to become champion?
Hulk Hogan.
Really?
When you beat Hulk Hogan, all the little Hulkamania died. Gone. Sayonara.
You've got an evil laugh.
But as I got older, it's funny, you learn a little bit more about the cartoon world of pro wrestling and how it's real life. And I actually learned that Rodney went to the same high school I did in Wilmington. He grew up in Carson, the same town I grew up in. And he was just like a regular guy. He liked rap music. He had lots of friends who liked to go, motorcycle riding, and he liked to play pranks and eat pizza. There's a big and tall store a few blocks from my house where he used to go shopping all the time.
What title did you hold?
The World Wrestling Federation title.
Who did you wrestle against to get that?
Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart.
How long have you been wrestling?
13 years.
So you didn't wrestle when you were like a little kid?
No. I was doing other things when I was a little kid.
And one of the big problems Rodney had and what ended his career is he loved eating, which we all love eating, but...
Let me ask you something. What does this gentleman eat? Everything makes you go,
Well, he composed about 25 to 30 pounds of food every day. For breakfast, he'll eat about a dozen hard-boiled eggs, about 24 ounces of steak, big pot of orange juice to make you healthy, dozen pancakes.
We wouldn't want anything unhealthy in there.
Sergio, there's no ending. It's just a beautiful sight to see my Yokozuna just eating. When he's eating, I'm happy.
And when you're happy, I'm happy.
Oh, yes, very good.
We all love eating, but he got so big that they couldn't insure him anymore to wrestle, and he ended up going on the pro wrestling indie circuit.
How did you hear about Boom Breakers and get involved with them?
Well, I'm a good friend with Axel Rotten and Corporal Punishment, and I decided to come out here and check it out, and because I have my own school down there in Las Vegas. So I like to see the guys that want to make it in this business,
What do you like the best about wrestling?
The traveling, get to see all over the world, the business itself, in and out of the ring, in front of the crowd, performing in front of the crowd, a live crowd. That's what gets me off on this business.
And unfortunately, he died in London, and before he could get back into it on a bigger stage. And it's sad because, you know, Rodney's family is some of the biggest family in pro wrestling. You know, his nephew is Roman Reigns, who's the WWF champion right now. His brother, or Rikishi, or his family member Rikishi, also ended up doing the sumo wrestling gimmick. You know, the Usos, it's the biggest family in wrestling. He's related to The Rock.
I started when I was 17. My whole family's in the business. I don't know if you guys know the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika. I have my cousins out there, the head shrinkers, Samu and Fatu, and there's about 7 of us in the business today.
He was one of the biggest wrestlers out there, figuratively and literally, but he was always one of my favorites. And he's buried out here in California. I was always a big fan. I always wanted to visit him. And, you know, it's just kind of sad when, you know, there's people who, like, you know, what's that saying, that you burn twice as bright for half as long, and that's kind of the story of Yokozuna. So it's cool to visit him. You know, I wish he'd been around with us longer. I'd heard from lots of people that he was an awesome, nice guy, and we're visiting him today. So rest in peace, Rodney, the mighty Yokozuna.